Hey y'all, it's Alex and welcome back to my channel. Yesterday's piece, the prompt word was ancient. I will have that linked down below, and that will kind of be like the form of this for all Inktober videos this year. Today, the prompt word is hollow. So for the thumbnail of this piece, my original thought was that this witch is gonna be sitting inside of the mouth of a cave, and she's gonna be kind of like, I was originally going for evil witch, and she's like staring out and out at the viewer of the piece and like grabbing the edges of the cave. But when I started drawing the face and I had like this completely wide, like kind of almost egg-eyed expression, I liked it too much to kind of take it and go evil. So I ended up keeping it and kind of changing it more to like, this poor witch happened to get lost in this system of caves, and now she's just either the caves itself has sucked her soul out of her body, or like someone took her soul and then left her to wander these caves forever. Something that I didn't really want to plan too much ahead of each piece was the character design. I wanted those to be absolutely off the cuff as we go along, and I think this one was one of my favorite character designs. I really love the poncho I gave her. I love the flow of her hair. I think the only thing I would change is the hat. I think I could have done a little bit more to kind of jazz it up in comparison to her outfit, because her outfit is kind of like, I love the poncho the most out of this outfit. I'm a little sad that I had to kind of like rough it up a little bit. There's a few missing gems off the edge. Those are what I imagine those triangles to be, just like little ornaments. I will also say, if I did this piece in digital, I would have taken the main subject and shifted her up a little bit. Originally, I had thought center the circle that she's sitting in, because you're gonna see all of the circle, but in this instance, you don't see the bottom of the circle. She's kind of like blocking it from where she's sitting and kind of like dangling over the edge, which I'm imagining that she's sitting kind of like staring into a dark precipice. Kind of, I don't know how many people have watched The Descent, but there's definitely like, there's a cave shaft that just goes into a big chasm, and then the cave continues on the other side, which could theoretically happen. I don't think I've ever seen a place where it happens, but I mean, other than for plot reasons, but could geologically, theoretically happen. What couldn't happen is the organization of these holes, unless we're just looking at them at a very odd direction. I don't think that this rock could exist. Just getting super nitpicky at myself. With doing all of my line arts pre-recorded and doing all of my audio in post, there's definitely some pros and cons. So the number one con is we kind of lose my in-the-moment thoughts. Pro on the other side of that, if I was talking at the same time as actually doing the piece would never get done. Like, that's honestly the one thing I'm so scared about for when I do my live piece. With the thumbnail I have planned right now, I estimate that piece, like, even normally doing it without any distractions such as talking, it would probably take me about an hour and a half to get through that sketch to line art front to finish. And then coloring is gonna be long on top of that. So I worry that stream is gonna be a little long. Oh, I don't know if I have actually officially announced this on my YouTube. On the 14th of this month, I'm going to be doing a live stream of one of my pieces. The prompt word for that day is dungeon. I believe that one was a crowd suggestion. I will be keeping you guys updated. Right now, I think I'm going to be doing it at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Eastern Standard Time, I believe. I am a dumb, and usually I only have to type out EST, so... Let's hop into the color. Now, the color I picked for today's piece is called Muted Gray. This is not gray. This is purple. I mean, like, if you dull it down enough, or if you dilute it down enough, yeah, it gets to be kind of grayish. But, like, so do a lot of things. I like how this color goes on wet. It goes on, like... I know it's the muted collection, so it's supposed to be a little bit ashy, but it goes on as such a beautiful color, and then it fades, and then I get sad. So I decided to try to layer it up to kind of like pull back a little bit of that pull a little bit of that purple in. It didn't quite work. It's still a little ashy. It's not exactly gray, which is why I'm glad and why I'm not absolutely mad at the color, and why I included it in the collection. It also saved me from having to go buy another ink, so. But my biggest problem with it is it blends in too much with the rest of the piece. And I feel like I have a big problem throughout the coloring of this piece getting the values right. I should have left her shirt white and just done a little bit of shading, so that way there would have been a little bit more difference, because I ended up trying to use the same... I think I used the number 2 dilution for her shirt, and then I tried doing the number 3 dilution for her skin, but it ended up being too similar, so I had to push it down to the number 4. And the number 4 is too similar to the value of the hair and the muted gray at the base value. So she ended up just becoming very unreadable towards the end. And a lot of this challenge is going to be pushing me about all of my color choices. I do think the dark shawl was a good choice. I do kind of wish I would have done a half black, half white shawl. Just looking at it half unfinished like that is really cool to me. And there we go, another cat attack. That is my number one fear about working at my desk. One of these days, the cats will jump on a piece. I swear to God. I tried going in with the number 3 on her skin, and it just didn't end up working. And I'd already imagined her having rather dark skin. If I wanted to have done that, I should have left the skirt lighter or left her hair, like, there needed to be white in this piece. Towards the end, I kind of just go a little crazy and eradicate the last bits of white except for the triangles, and bad plan. And I'm probably being too critical about this. I know that I'm a pretty critical person when it comes to my art, but like as soon as I'm finished with the piece, I'll see all the could have beens and the I should haves, and I go a little crazy with it, and nothing will stop that mentality in me, I think. I really, every piece is a learning experience, but the problem is I want to do the experience again afterwards. So it's a great mentality. Part of the way through filling in these holes in the background of this piece, I thought, oh man, should I have done the big ink wash before I do the actual, like, we're just gonna keep calling them holes, unfortunately. I don't quite like that word, but it's fine. But halfway through, I just decided, screw it, I've already started, and if the Daler-Rowney smudges anywhere. I want it to kind of be like an even smudge, because this ink in particular has a very chalky finish to it. Like, when you rub your hand along a big swath of it, when it's dry, you'll come away with a little bit of, like, it's a little bit of dust on your fingers. So if I was gonna be dragging all that around on half the piece, I decided might as well be even. Just tell yourself it's a part of the rock texture and leave it at that. Luckily, that didn't end up happening. I ended up going over with a kind of light wash. Looking back at it now, I should have done a darker wash and had her be a figure of light within the scene. That would have been a lot better. But it just didn't really end up working out. And also, for all of my love of rocks, I can't draw them very well. I've never really spent time teaching myself how to draw rocks, and really my only experience is drawing really shitty doodles in my my field journals whenever I had field experience, whenever I had to. It's something I definitely want to get better at. The problem is, whenever I start thinking about drawing rocks, I get a little too technical and I want to include like layers of strata, and that definitely wouldn't work in this case, because probably if you go between two different distinct layers of strata, you're gonna have different hole forming, so it wouldn't have worked here. But I tried speckling around some different colors or different hues, and I also splattered her outfit a little bit and tried splattering the background. It didn't read well. Like, it didn't really come across. Kind of like the first piece, I finished this piece and went on to do, like, I went on to do my final shots. I realized that, once again, I didn't like the color balance. I thought it was both too lacking in color and not really balanced. So, after taking the tape off, I immediately put more tape on, which was rather difficult to line up on this one. It was a lot better on the other piece. I took a watered down wash of the muted gray and went through the piece. It just looks like a very slightly different toned gray. It could be a lot better, it could be a lot worse. I did darken it up and that helped it a little bit, but I feel like I let myself down on this piece. I'm always hypercritical, I know. I really liked the line art of this piece, and then I go into the color, and I don't. And I tried, the eyes as the stark white looked way too bright for the area, and I tried dulling that down, and it ended up kind of ruining the face for me a little bit. I think, regardless of what happens in this challenge, I want to take another stab at this piece. Either digital or in markers. I'm gonna take another stab at this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching the process of this piece. Tomorrow's prompt word is gust. If you feel so inclined, hit that subscribe button and check me out on my other social media handles. Thanks, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.